The Alaska Airlines Credit Card is one of the most popular credit cards for people like myself who live on the West Coast. However, I think this credit card can be super applicable even beyond those people who live on the West Coast due to their extensive airline partners. And in my opinion, the Alaska Airlines Credit Card is the best airline credit card in terms of the amount of value that you get in relation to the cost. So in this video, I'm going to give a full breakdown on the Alaska Airlines Credit Card, in which I will discuss some of the core characteristics of this credit card, compare the Alaska credit card to some other airline credit cards, and then finally I'll give my thoughts on why I think the Alaska Airlines credit card is the very best airline credit card. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks for checking out this video and welcome back to the channel. If we dive right into an overview of the Alaska Airlines credit card, the first thing to note is that unlike some other airlines such as United and Delta that have a couple different credit cards with different price points, Alaska Airlines simply just has the one standard Alaska Airlines Visa credit card. The Alaska Airlines card can be seen as more of a mid-tier type credit card due to having a price point of an annual fee of $75. And the current welcome bonus on this credit card is to receive a $100 statement credit and 40,000 bonus miles after spending $2,000 or more in the first 3 months. The points guide currently values Alaska points at 1.8 cents per point, which means those 40,000 bonus miles would be worth a value of $720. And then you'd also get that $100 statement credit, so you can expect to get a value of about $820 from this welcome bonus. And with that $820 in value that you get from the welcome bonus, you'll be able to cancel out the annual fee of $75 on this credit card for around the first 11 years. Beyond that, you'll also get free checked bags on Alaska flights for yourself and up to 6 guests. So if you're flying on Alaska flights pretty frequently, then that can really add up to a lot of savings. The elevated multipliers on this credit card aren't too great, as you'll get 3x back on Alaska Airlines purchases, but then only 1x back on everything else. So long term, you should probably only be using this credit card for direct Alaska Airlines expenses. Despite this, there is one facet of the Alaska Airlines credit card that can be a super strong reason for why you should have this card long term, and that is the annual companion fare that you get on this credit card every single year. The companion fare basically means that you can add someone to your reservation as your companion, and then regardless of the cost of your ticket, your companion's ticket will only be at $99 plus taxes and fees. Unfortunately, you cannot use Alaska's companion fare for a plane ticket on a partner airline like British Airways or Cathay Pacific, and instead you must use the Alaska companion fare for an Alaska Airlines operated flight. However, despite this, Alaska does fly all over the US and also to international destinations such as multiple places in Mexico, multiple places in Canada, Costa Rica, and Belize. And as you can see, if you were to fly to a place like Costa Rica, the cheapest round-trip flights you could find would be for around $1,000, and so that companion fare of $100 plus taxes and fees would save you around $900. Based on that example, the value that you get from the Alaska Airlines credit card via getting that companion fare every year would significantly outpace the $75 fee that you need to pay on this card every year. And you pretty much only would need to have a trip like going to Costa Rica or Belize or Mexico or something like that every 7 to 10 years to get value from this card. So even beyond the fact that a lot of people, especially if you live on the West Coast, can get long-term value from the Alaska credit card with the annual companion fare and free checked bags. But Alaska also does have a very long list of direct transfer partners, which basically means that you can book a flight on one of these airline partners with your Alaska points. And so this is part of the reason that I said earlier that even if you don't live on the West Coast or fly Alaska frequently, that a lot of other people could still get value out of the Alaska credit card, especially in the first couple of years. For example, they have a long list of global partners that includes a list such as American Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Qantas, and more. And then somewhat recently, Alaska just joined the One World Alliance, which basically means that you can use your Alaska Elite status perks at over 900 destinations. Additionally, Alaska points are significantly more valuable than a lot of other airlines, and the points guide values Alaska points just below the likes of Chase and American Express, who have a ton of different transfer partners to choose from. For example, Alaska has some insanely valuable redemption options for first and business class international flights with some of their travel partners. And for example, you could get a first class Cathay Pacific flight to somewhere like Hong Kong for only 70,000 Alaska points, which would give you just an absolutely ridiculous redemption value of about 29 cents per point when you consider that first class Cathay Pacific flights are extremely luxurious and sell consistently for about $20,000 per flight. If we compare the 29 cents per point in redemption value that you'd get when using Alaska to some other airlines, if you book this flight through American Airlines, it would cost you 110,000 miles and you'd get about 18 cents per point in redemption value. Booking directly with Cathay Pacific would cost 125,000 miles and you'd get 16 cents per point in redemption value. And then British Airways would cost 200,000 Avios, which would give you 10 cents per point in redemption value. One thing to consider is that Alaska points can be really tough to earn because they don't have any direct travel partners that can transfer directly into Alaska points. So make sure you savor the points that you do have because of the value that Alaska points can hold. Basically, this card is still best for people who fly Alaska Airlines at least once a year. With the more often that you fly on Alaska, the more valuable that this card becomes, because you do want to make sure that you take advantage of that valuable companion fare. Now, if we compare the $75 Alaska Airlines credit card to some other airline credit cards, the first comparison I'll make is to the United Explorer card, which has a $95 annual fee after the first year. The United Explorer card has some similar perks to the Alaska Airlines card, such as free checked bags, elevated multipliers on specific United purchases, and then some aspects that the United credit card has that the Alaska credit card does not have is an elevated multiplier of 2x back on dining in hotels, and then 2 United Club passes every single year. If one of these 2 airline credit cards is the only credit card that you have in your setup, then yeah, that elevated multiplier of 2x back on dining in hotels could be valuable to you. But if you have multiple credit cards in your setup, then you're probably going to have at least one credit card that gets you a higher multiplier than 2x back for a popular spend category like dining. However, one thing that is very missing from the United Explorer card that the Alaska card does have is that it does not have any sort of companion fare with the credit card, which, as I discussed earlier when I discussed the companion fare on the Alaska credit card, a companion fare can be incredibly valuable and can help offset multiple years of annual fees. In order to have any sort of companion fare with United, you'd have to go up to the United Quest card, which has an annual fee of $250, and then you'd get 2 5,000 mile flight certificates. But this is still significantly less valuable than the Alaska companion fare because the Alaska companion fare is uncapped and you can use it exactly how you want to. The next comparison that I'll make is comparing the Alaska Airlines credit card with the Delta Sky Miles Gold card, which has a $99 annual fee after the first year. Similar to the United Explorer card, the Delta Sky Miles Gold card not only gives you a 2x multiplier for Delta-specific purchases, but they also give you a 2x multiplier for restaurants and supermarkets. But same thing as I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to have another credit card that gets you a higher multiplier for those spending categories of restaurants and grocery stores, so it probably won't impact you that much that you might have this multiplier on the Delta card. This credit card also gives you some other perks such as free checked bags, and then probably the best feature of the Delta Sky Miles Gold card is you'll get a $100 Delta flight credit, but you only get that after spending $10,000 in 1 year, which could be a lot to ask for some people. Similar to the United comparison, in order to get a companion fare type benefit, you need to upgrade to the Delta Sky Miles Platinum card, which has a $250 annual fee, but even then, that companion fare is only going to be for domestic flights, whereas again, since the Alaska companion fare is completely uncapped, you can use that for destinations like Mexico, Canada, Belize, and Costa Rica. Ultimately, the Alaska Airlines credit card is still best suited for people who either live on the West Coast or fly Alaska Airlines quite frequently, but if either of those characteristics apply to you, then I think this is by far the best airline credit card to get. You could still get value out of this credit card if neither of those characteristics apply to you, especially during that first year. But again, you're just going to max out the amount of value that you can get if you fly Alaska quite frequently. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed this type of video, I make a lot of credit card videos on my channel. So if you're interested in learning some more about credit cards in the future, then make sure to go ahead and check out my channel. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And if you got any value or insight from this video, then please leave a like on this video as it helps me out a ton and I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.